Educating, empowering, and inspiring you to live healthier is our mission. So let's begin. Hey, Health Warriors. This is episode number 86 of the Life, Strength, and Health podcast. I'm Kim and I'm joined with Jamal.
Greetings, everyone.
And
peace and blessings.
Yes. And thank you for joining us this week. In this episode, we're going to be discussing breakfast options to start your day off right. But before we dive into today's episode, just want to make sure if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out episode number 85, where we discuss the dangers of dry breakfast cereals. We dive into why they are not the best option to start your day, how they negatively affect your health, and so much more. So to access that episode, just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/85. And one thing I wanted to discuss before we move forward is in previous episodes, I mentioned that Soora she joined a track team this year in our town. And this past Sunday, she had her first track meet and she was super excited. We're so proud of her. And honestly, coming from someone who has competed and played sports all my life, I used to experience tremendous nerves, but nothing rates as high as this past Sunday in terms of the nerves I have for my daughter. It was like she was running in the Olympics, but I managed to work through them. And we're so proud of her. She did so great. She ran the 200 meters. And like I said, we are super proud of her.
Yeah, definitely. It was cool. It was cool to be back in that environment. I used to run in school all the way through college. So it was cool to be back in that environment and kind of live through my daughter doing it all over again and going through that experience with her. So definitely.
Yeah, and you were really excited as well.
Oh, yeah, I was beyond excited. I wasn't nervous. I was more excited.
I think you're turning into like a track dad.
Maybe, because I was busy assessing and trying to see how we can make adjustments to her next race. So
yes.
Hey, maybe I am. It's my first time hearing of that terminology. I don't know if it's real or not, but maybe that's what's going on.
You are all in. As long as she has fun. For us, that's the main thing. Having fun. Physical fitness is a big part of our family, being active. So I'm just happy she's enjoying it.
Yeah, I will say this. I was sharing this with someone else. When you look at the athletes that were running in her heat, all of them had this serious look on their faces,
sure
like,
did.
I'm trying to win, or I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to work hard. She had a smile on her face.
Yeah.
Like, she was smiling. And at one point she looked over at me and she started laughing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, when she ran past me, she looked over and smiled. I'm like, push. Yeah. Right. And that's as long as she's enjoying it. And she's only 8. So it's like, come on.
Yeah, so it's all good.
So now let's segue into this week's organic food for thought. And this week's organic food for thought is on vitamin E. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble compound mainly found in certain plant oils and also in the leaves of green vegetables. Vitamin E is both a nutrient as well as an antioxidant. As an antioxidant, it is known for protecting the body from free radicals that can wreak havoc on our health, both internally and externally. There are 8 major forms of naturally occurring vitamin E. Alpha tocopherol is the most abundant vitamin E in human tissue and is the only form recognized to meet human requirements, which means it is the form used to reverse vitamin E deficiency symptoms. Vitamin E, also called the skin vitamin, has excellent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and skin healing properties, which makes it a great natural remedy for various skin and hair concerns. Some other benefits of vitamin E is it's a skin protectant and fights free radicals, improves dry skin, may help scars, discourages wrinkles, is a hair booster, and may help to treat eczema.
Yeah, vitamin E is very powerful, and I just want to say that when you're eating it in its food form, when you're going to automatically find it with the things that you need to absorb it. But if you are going to take vitamin E, it is a fat soluble vitamin. So you want to make sure that you're taking it with some form of fat so that you can absorb it the best. And also, based on, some recent studies I was doing on vitamin E, plays a huge role in helping men to increase testosterone and fertility in regards to our sperm cells. So really good nutrient for men's health.
So now let's segue into this week's episode, where we discuss breakfast options to start your day with. And as I mentioned in episode number 85, we discussed the dangers of dry breakfast cereals. So make sure you check out that episode if you have not done so already. But in this episode, we are going to share some breakfast options to help get your day started off right, that fuels your body as well as fuel your brain.
Yeah, and I just want to say that the last show that we did was about breakfast cereals. And today we're going to get into some positive things that you can consider having for breakfast. But we live in our society, especially in the U.S., we live in a society that likes to have sugary things in the morning. Mm-hmm. I don't know where that started from. I need to maybe do a little research on that. I didn't look into that. But we like to have sugary things. So we'll have like pancakes. We'll have, waffles and French toast and biscuits and fruit and bagels and fruit bars and buttered rolls. Like we just consume a lot of things that turn into sugar. And how you start your morning out is very important. So what happens when you start your morning out with sugar? Your sugar is your body's preferred fuel source because it can break it down really easily. So what happens is that when we consume this sugar, it spikes our blood sugar levels, right? So when we have all of this sugar in the morning, it spikes our blood sugar level. And then when our blood sugar begins to fall, when it gets low, we get tired and we drag, and it makes us crave more sugar. So what happens is we'll reach for another carb or another sugary snack. Mm-hmm. It spikes our levels again. It comes down, and it's just this kind of back and forth spiking and dropping throughout the day. And we're snacking all day. It makes us hungry.
Right.
When that happens, we get hungry. So we end up snacking all day, which leads to so many different health challenges. That's really not the way that you want to start off your day. I know that traditionally in our most recent American culture, we like to have those sugary things, but I always say that things like pancakes and French toast, those are desserts.
Yeah.
They're really like desserts. And if you're going to have them for breakfast, it needs to be a treat. Like that's something that you might do once a week.
It shouldn't be like a staple.
Yeah, you do it once a week. And even when you have it once a week, you want to try to make it the right way, right? You want to use real whole food ingredients. You want to use real syrup, right? Mm-hmm. Real maple syrup, not like colored corn syrup and what do they call it? They call it pancake syrup. That's what they call it. You see it says pancake syrup, and it's just colored corn syrup, right? So we don't want to do those things. We want to have it as much of a whole food as possible, and it's just like a treat, right? We don't want to do that day in and day out. There's a reason why the U.S. Diabetes rate is continuing to incline, and everyone is having all of these challenges as far as diabetes is concerned. And we're getting all of these children now that's experiencing type 2 diabetes before they even get out of high school. There's a reason for these things. So how you start your morning is very important. What I'm saying is that when you start your morning off with proteins and fats, as opposed to having the sugar, what happens is you get this nice, slow burning energy, this clean energy that
Yes.
powers you through the day without the crash.
And
right?
your brain function increases.
Yeah, exactly. Your cognitive function is better. So I find starting your mornings out like that is more beneficial. So we're going to run through, we put together a list of about 5 things that you can do to start your morning off. And it's probably the best way to start your mornings off.
Yes. So the first option is a high octane smoothie that's packed with nutrition. And some of the things that you can use is coconut milk, avocado, cacao powder, berries, or greens.
Yeah, I think that that's really important. Starting your morning out with a breakfast smoothie. You can pack that with a lot of nutrition, right? You could just throw, and it's quick, it's fast food. You could just throw it, or should I say real fast food? So you could just throw these ingredients in your blender, blend these things up, and then you could just go. Mm-hmm. So the key to your smoothies is you want to make sure that it has a moderate amount of protein in it. You want to make sure that it's high in fat, high in fiber, and this is going to give you some nice sustainable energy. Like Kim said, you could put things like an avocado in there to give it extra fat, or you can add some coconut oil or some MCT oil, and you could do these things. And I think that that's a really good way to start off your day.
So the next option number 2, is butter tea or butter coffee.
Yes, there is definitely a trend that is happening right now where people are actually putting butter in their coffee. It's called bulletproof coffee, and it's starting to become more popular. And I'll honestly say that, we have good trends, bad trends, good fads, bad fads, and that's actually a good one, right? It's starting to pick up some steam, and it really started. It's a traditional Asian, drink, Asian beverage. So they in Tibet, they would have something called yak butter tea. So it will be a combination of black tea. It would be yak butter, and then they would also put that's where they have the Himalayan salt. So there would be pink Himalayan salt in there, and it would also sometimes they would put barley in there, and it was packed with nutrition. It creates an internal balance and strengthens the body's blood, muscle, fat, bone, marrow, and regenerative fluids, right? So this was grass-fed yak that they used, and in Tibet is very high altitude. So having this in the morning would really help with dealing with a high altitude. And the creator of Bulletproof Coffee, Dave Asprey, he actually took a trip to Tibet, and that's one of the beverages that he would drink in the morning, and he felt amazing, especially being in high altitude. So that led him when he got home to start adding it to his coffee, grass-fed butter to his coffee, and that's beginning to take off. But there are a lot of benefits to doing that, whether you want to put it in your tea, you want to put it in your coffee. There are a lot of really good benefits of doing that. You just want to make sure that the butter that you're using is grass-fed, and it can definitely boost your energy and increase your cognitive function, and it'll even help you to lose unwanted fat, which is why the Bulletproof Coffee is really doing well. I'm not a fan of coffee personally. I always tell Kim this. To me, coffee tastes like burnt tea. Right, because I'm such a tea drinker, and I grew up on tea, so I've tried it, but it just doesn't work for me. But so I'll put it in my tea, right? What I find to be better than the butter is actual ghee, pasture raised ghee, because what they do with the ghee is they boil off all of the things that people would normally react to who are allergic to dairy. So things like casein, that is burnt off, and all of the mucus causing properties are burnt off. So you just get this pure butter oil that's really healthy, high in A, high in D, high in E, high in K, butyrate, omega-3, CLA, selenium, zinc, chromium, copper, all of these things that protect against mental illness, diabetes, anti-inflammatory, and is good for your gut health. So ghee I consider ghee to be a superfood, right? We're in a climate where animals get a bad rap, but right. Ghee is one of those superfoods that it needs to be put up there with any of the top superfoods, whether it be plant or animal. So to add ghee to your butter or your coffee in the mornings is definitely going to, like we said, in having those fats, it's going to balance out your hormones in the morning. Is going to turn off the hormone that causes you to crave, and it's going to turn on your hormone to feel satiated, and it's going to give you that nice, clean, slow burning energy for the day. So that's definitely an option that you can have for yourself. And it doesn't have to be, obviously, that as far as the Tibetan tradition has been proven to be the best option. However, it doesn't have to be the butter tea. Right. If you wanted to start your morning that way, you wanted to take more of a plant-based approach, what you can use is coconut oil, right? You could put a little coconut oil in your tea, right? You could put a little bit of coconut oil in your coffee, right? And if you want to refine it a little bit more, MCT oil, which is the best parts of the coconut oil. You can put MCT oil in those things. If you're going to use ghee or any other oil, what we find is that it needs to be blended, because you need a powerful blender to break the cell walls and just kind of blend everything in. Other than that, you just have oil sitting on the top of your beverage.
Your hot water.
Yeah, your hot water. Yeah, if you just try to stir it with a spoon. And we've had clients that did that and just felt like they were drinking oil because they didn't use a blender. Even when you tell people use a blender, someone's still going to try to stir it, right? But no,
they also have those little portable stick blenders,
right? Yeah,
that you can put in your cup and then just blend a personal cup.
Yeah, we have one of those for travel, and right now. I think last show we were talking about intermittent fasting. Was that the last show?
Yeah, episode 85.
Yeah, we were talking about the benefits of intermittent fasting. So to have something like a butter tea or butter coffee that still allows you to do intermittent fasting, it's just modified because you're adding a little bit of fat to your beverage. So that's a good way to do intermittent fasting, and then you'll be balanced and you won't get hungry. So you'll easily be able to make it to lunchtime if you added those things.
Yeah, butter tea has been a very beneficial part of my morning routine. I do it every morning and I feel great. And when I don't do my butter tea, I feel the difference. So definitely try that butter tea or butter coffee in your mornings to start your day off right.
Yes.
The next option is quinoa cereal. And quinoa cereal is something that you can make yourself. It's simple. It's quick. Make sure that you add plenty of fats to it. Having sprouted quinoa is the best way to have it. And, you can also add chia or blueberries to your cereal as well.
Quinoa cereal, I think, is a powerful cereal. That's one of the other staples that we tend to have in America as far as breakfast is concerned, and that's like breakfast cereals, right? But the whole thing is most of the cereals that we're having, it goes back to something that turns into sugar, something that is processed, right? So typically we would have grits, right? Which is, processed corn, or we would have oatmeal, which we'll get to in a second. And some people, put a bunch of things in there that, just contribute to the spiking of your blood sugar levels and just not really getting good nutrition. So quinoa is a really good hot cereal alternative that you can have. And the cool thing about quinoa is that from a product perspective, a lot of times when things become commercial, they alter the products and they make them inferior. But the coconut, the quinoa cereals out there are still really good products. So you can actually buy quinoa cereal. They even have a quinoa instant cereal that is pretty healthy. But making quinoa cereal is pretty easy. You can make it yourself. We actually used to make quinoa baby cereal for Sora, right? We would just kind of, blend it up and make this cereal. And that was a meal that she used to have. Not only is it packed with many different vitamins and minerals, but it's also a complete protein as well. So it is something good that you can give to children. Whenever you're having grains, you always want to make sure you add plenty of fats to them. So you can add a little coconut fat, or you can put a little olive oil, like coconut oil, or you can add some ghee or grass-fed butter to that. So that is definitely an option that you can have in the mornings.
Yes. So the next option is eggs, avocado, and veggies. And this combination offers great fats and protein. Right.
So that kind of goes back to what we were discussing earlier about starting your morning with fats and proteins. And that's going to give you a cleaner energy so you're not dealing with the crashes. So the eggs, you got the very good cholesterol coming from the eggs, as well as the other vitamins that are in there. And I know that a lot of people are afraid of the yolks, but that's where all of the nutrition is. And we spoke about this before. What's being said about cholesterol is not totally true. Our bodies actually need to get in cholesterol. So if you do eat eggs, then eggs is actually a really good breakfast to have in the morning. The only thing with eggs is that you want to make sure that it's pasture-raised eggs. Organic isn't enough. It needs to be organic pasture-raised eggs. Those are the best ones to have. Then to add some extra avocado to that would be good. And then also having some veggies. A lot of times people don't have veggies for breakfast. They don't consider veggies to be breakfast, but good nutrition.
Yes,
it doesn't matter when you have it. So
as long as you have it,
right? As long as you have it. So to start your morning out with some eggs and some plants, some avocado, and a lot of veggies, that's a better way to start your morning out.
Right. And the final option that we're recommending in this episode as a breakfast option is soaked oatmeal. And we'll get into the soaking instructions in 1 minute. But with soaked oatmeal, you want to make sure that you add plenty of fats, as Jamal mentioned, with carbs. You want to make sure you add your good fats with that. And with the soaked oatmeal, you can add some chia or blueberries to the recipe.
Yeah, so oatmeal is one of those kind of super staples, right? That's very traditional. People like to have oatmeal in the morning. So when we think about hot cereal, we're thinking about either grits or we're thinking about oatmeal, right? And oatmeal is one of those things where, it is commercial. So you're going to find some instant oatmeals out there that are highly processed, right? You're going to find a lot of instant ones with a lot of crazy sweeteners in there, maple brown syrup and apple cinnamon and strawberry cream and a bunch of all of these weird flavors for your oatmeal. But they do well because it's full of sugar, and it kind of goes back to the cereals, right? Highly processed is just like having cereal when you get into those things, right? And then also you have the old fashioned or rolled oats, which is a little processed, but overall those are pretty good because they're a little bit more digestible. Then you have steel cut oats, which is the actual oat grain itself. Or the whole oat, which is the actual whole grain itself. So you could go with the steel cut. You can go with the old fashioned rolled oats. But the thing with oats and the thing with grains in general is the fact that they're very high in phytic acid, and a lot of their nutrition isn't activated, right? They have enzyme inhibitors. So what happens when you consume grains on a regular basis, it begins to block your body's ability to absorb your own nutrients, to absorb not only the nutrients from the grain itself, but absorb other nutrients as well. So a person that has grains over, every single day and they're not processing them properly, it leads to different types of nutritional deficiencies. And also because of the enzyme inhibitors that are in there, it can also lead to digestive system stress and digestive system problems,
right?
Especially for the people out there that are having them raw by soaking them or so-called sprouting them and then consuming them raw. You're really going to have some serious digestive system issues. I remember we were raw foodists.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, we were raw foodists for a year. We did a whole year of raw, and that was one of our staples. The oats. So we would take the oats and
oat groats.
Yeah, the oat groats. We would get them. We would soak them, and man, they taste really good. Yeah. I would say that they were
flavor was popping.
They were delicious raw oats, but man, like. That single-handedly destroyed my digestive system.
I'm telling you.
Like I would have it and I would just feel full all day. And then the next day I would just be gassy. And eventually it was just like, I just can't do this. At that time, I didn't even know the science on it. I just knew that it was not working, right?
You couldn't function in normal society.
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. If anyone out there has them, and you experience that, that's the reason why, because it's just so much stress on your digestive system, right? So, that definitely did not work. But yeah, it puts a lot of stress on your digestive system. So traditionally, our grains were prepared a certain way. Like our ancestors didn't just get grain and eat them. Like there was always this long process of what we did. Even when we look into ancient African cultures, there was a sifting that was done. There was a separating. There was a soaking, right? When we look at different Latin American cultures, when it comes to their grains, their corns and things like that, there's a fermenting process, right? No one just ate the grains as is, because if it's not fermented properly, you can't break it down and you're going to inhibit your own enzymes. So it's really important that you soak your grains. So we're talking about oatmeal. You want to soak your oatmeal overnight. So ideally, for every cup of grain or every cup of oats, you want to use 2 tablespoons of something either fermented or something acidic. So you can do 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, add that to your water, or you can do 2 tablespoons of yogurt or whey. You can use those things and those will help it to ferment. So what you're going to do is you will prepare it the same way. You would just, put it in your pot. Let's say oatmeal is traditionally 1 to 2. So 1 part grain, 2 part water. So you'll do 1 cup of oats and then you do 2 cups of water, and then you'll add either your apple cider, your whey, your kefir or your yogurt. You would add it to that mix. And then you will put your lid on and you'll leave it on the stove at room temperature. Let it sit for at least 8 hours. Let that sit. It'll ferment. You'll deactivate the phytic acid. You'll unlock the nutrition, deactivate the enzyme inhibitors, and then it's going to be much more nutritious when you have it. And I'll tell you this, when you do have it this way, you will tell a difference with your digestion. Like it's a huge difference when you have it. So that is the better way to prepare oats. So you still can enjoy your oatmeal. You just need to prepare it the right way. And then if you want to kick it up a notch with your nutrition, you always want to add fats. So you want to add in some ghee or some coconut oil or coconut milk or something like that. But you can kick it up by adding some chia seeds, or you can put some berries in there, some blueberries or your berries of choice to kick up the nutrition a bit. So that's the best way to go when it comes to making your oatmeal.
Yes. So that is our options to start your day off right. If you implement any of these, give us some feedback and let us know how you felt. You can leave us a comment on the blog or in the show notes pages, or we're on Instagram and Facebook. You can also leave us a comment there as well.
Yes.
So that is the conclusion of this episode. To access the show notes pages, just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/86 to access the show notes pages. And before we go, we just wanted to let you know that this episode was sponsored by Life Strength and Health. Life Strength and Health is our wellness center located in New Jersey, and it's our mission to help you to optimize your health. And we focus on digestion, health, and toxicity within the body. And we work with people in our office or virtually. So to learn more about our wellness center, just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com. So once again, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for next week's episode. And until next time, live healthier.
Yes, everyone. Stay healthy. Peace and blessings.
We want to say thank you for listening to the show and for access to the show notes pages, more podcast episodes, blog content, as well as more information about our center, Life Strength and Health. Then just visit us at lifestrengthandhealth.com. Until next time, live healthier.